Cool. Thank you. Welcome to this bass clinic. Do you guys have any questions about that song that I just performed? Feel free to ask away, or just anything in general. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to talk mostly about tapping today, since that's what a lot of people know me for. I'm mostly tapping technique. So getting good at any technique is really about just getting in as many high quality practice hours as you can. So listening to someone talk about good technique is not necessarily the best way to learn technique, as I'm sure you are aware. It doesn't matter whether it's tapping, slap, playing bass with your teeth, whatever it is. You've got to get in a lot of high quality practice hours. And that means, when I say high quality, I mean you've got to be practicing using very efficient techniques. So you're not just kind of zoning out and playing whatever you want and just not thinking about it. You've got to be very in the moment, trying to use the most like precise and efficient technique that you can. So when I first started tapping, I didn't really know what I was doing, obviously, like when you first start anything. And my technique wasn't that great. And while technique, of course, isn't everything, it is very important to being able to express yourself exactly how you want, which is what music is all about. And so I had to get these exercises going where I was deliberately really putting my mind into playing with the most efficient technique that I can. And then I just drilled that for hours and hours and hours and hundreds, thousands of hours. So what I'm going to do today is show you some of the exercises that I practiced when I was at a similar point in my bass playing career to where you are now. So I went to Berkeley. You guys are at MI. So we've got the music college thing in common. And these exercises, I practice them for like 4 or 5 hours a day sometimes. Not saying you guys have to do that, obviously, but the more the better, because that's what's going to develop that muscle memory, and that's what's going to give you that default technique of just playing well. So yeah, how many of you have brought basses with you, by the way? Okay, so we've got like 4 or 5. So we've got a couple of amps up here. So I would really love it if some people wanted to play along with me because I think that would help a lot. You guys learn. So if one or two of you, I think we've only got 2 bass amps, right? So if just two of you want to come up here and play along with me, you're not going to be playing like solos or anything. It's just going to be playing the exercises along with me. I think that would really help you to learn so if any of you want to do that, come up. Yeah, you can come up, of course. If I had it my way, you'd all have bass amps, but we've got to work with what we have. Maybe we can like swap in and out, like some of the other guys can play later on. Hey man, how's it going? What's your name?
Luca.
Luca.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Good to meet you. Also from England.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh nice.
Yeah, I just started here about this is my 3rd week. So
Oh, that's awesome.
can I just use any 1/4 inch from up here?
Yeah, there should be one on each amp.
Cool.
Yeah, I think the heart key should be good.
Nice.
Hey.
I'm so sorry, I forgot to bring your books.
Oh, no, that's okay.
I forgot to bring it today.
That's all right. What's your name?
Ting.
Ting?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Have you guys done much tapping before?
All of the tapping I do on this is based on your inspiration.
Oh, really?
Yeah, check out your videos, just copying stuff.
Oh, nice. Well, yeah, probably won't be quite that crazy, at least the first few exercises.
Oh, I'm not saying much. I'm just going to go slow.
Have you done much tapping?
Not too much.
Okay, yeah. That's good. Got some power. All right. 3 bassists is like the minimum you need.
I'm going to sing, so I'm going to sit down.
2 guitar players,
Okay.
3 bass
Alright.
players.
Yeah, that's fine. You call it a sling?
Straight.
I've never heard it called a sling.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. Okay, so you've tapped a little bit, and you've tapped.
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay,
A little bit.
cool. So I'm going to show you a pretty simple exercise. This one is just practicing like hammer-ons and pull-offs. So you're going to take your first finger and put it on fret 12 on G, and then you're going to put your first finger on the left hand on fret 5. And you're going to tap with your right hand and then pull off. And then you're going to do the same thing but on fret 5 on your left hand. And then you're just going to repeat that like 4 times. Yeah. And then you're going to do the same thing but with the middle finger on your right hand, so fret 13. And then fret 14 on your right hand, so ring finger. And then back down to fret 13 right hand. Yeah, let's try playing that whole phrase along with this backing track. Okay, awesome. So that's you've basically got the whole exercise down now. all we're going to do now is just repeat that whole phrase, but on every string. So we're going to go G, D, A, E. So how did you guys feel? Was that really easy? Was that hard? Like what? How are you feeling about that exercise so far?
Yep.
You feeling good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then maybe let's do it slightly faster. I don't want this to be too easy for you guys.
Let's see.
Nice. That's a new song for my next album. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
So when you're doing your tap hand, is it like it seems like you're more like this? Is that what you're doing?
Like you're talking about the like rotation of my hand.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you recommend like the pull off going downward or upward with the right hand?
I always do upward, like towards me. Yeah, I find it feels weird to me going downward like that. I've always done it towards me. I feel like I have more control if I do that. I'm not saying you have to do it like that, but it's what has always felt best to me. But yeah, in terms of like the rotation of my hand, I find I have the most control if I've got it kind of like this, like not like, okay, so if I have it like this, that's fine for doing like that kind of stuff, but it's actually really hard to play like linear, like more scalar type patterns like that, because like if I'm trying to play a major scale, my hand is like this. Whereas if I have it down like this, it's like I feel like I have much more control, and that just allows me to play like a wider variety of stuff. So I'm not limited to just doing crazy fast Billy Sheehan pull off, hammer on stuff. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's try out another exercise. This one's going to be similar. It's also going to be hammer-ons and pull-offs for now. We'll get to some more crazy stuff later. Yeah, so you're gonna have your ring finger on fret 17 on G, and your first finger on fret 9 on G. Yeah, yeah. Oh, no. And then you're gonna tap again and pull off like last time. And then you're gonna tap with your left hand, fret 9, hammer on 12. Yeah, so the full pattern. And like last time, we do it 4, and then we're doing middle finger, so fret 16 on G. And then fret 15, first finger. And then fret 14, so just shift down 1 fret with your index finger. Yeah, so that's it. And like the last exercise, we're just going to do it on every string. We'll do it nice and slow at first. Nice. Feeling good? All right, let's do it faster. Nice. So it gets pretty awkward on the E string. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like tapping with your right hand down here. And to be honest, it's not something you do that much. Like it's pretty rare that I'm tapping down on the E string with my right hand. It's still good to practice it though, just in case you do want to do that. Practicing technique is all about removing as many physical limitations as you can. Like you don't want to end up in a situation where you're like, oh, the perfect thing to do right now would be to tap on the E string, but I can't do it. So I guess I won't. Like, you want to like practice all of these scenarios so that when the time comes to play those things, you can just do it without thinking about it. Another thing just to keep in mind when you're practicing these things is you should really make as much deliberate attempt as you can to use very small, precise motions. Because even though what we're playing right now is not that technically challenging, you've got to practice with really good technique from the very beginning if you can, because then when you do play the crazy stuff later on, you will have ingrained it into your muscle memory and your technique won't just fall apart when you're trying to play fast. So even though you could play this exercise like, like ridiculously over like big movements, it might feel slightly weird at first, but trying to use the smallest movements you can. Like, because that's what's going to allow you to play really fast. If you're doing these huge movements, you can't get your hand from here down to here in like a split second. Yeah, does anyone else want to play? I don't want to just, have only 2 people play throughout this clinic. If anyone else wants to come up, we can just kind of have people rotating in and out, or we can just have these guys play. It's up to you. But at any point, if you want to come up and play, just feel free to raise your hand and we'll make it happen. Okay. Let's go on to another exercise. So how many of you guys are familiar with the cycle of fourths? Okay, so some of you. Okay, so the cycle of fourths, the way you can think about it is basically it's every single key put in order. So it's basically like if you start on C, you're in C major, you've got no sharps or flats. Then the next closest key is up a fourth, which is F major. That key has 1 flat. The next closest key is B flat, that has 2 flats. Then you've got E flat with 3 flats. Then A flat with 4 flats. D flat with 5 flats. G flat with 6 flats. B with 5 sharps. E with 4 sharps. A with 3 sharps. D with 2 sharps. And G with 1 sharp. And then you're back to C. So if you notice, as I was saying all of that, I was adding flats, and then we came to sharps, and I was taking away sharps. So you get further and further away from the key, and then you get closer and closer back to it, and then you're back in the original key. And the reason it's really good to practice the cycle of fourths is because you find it everywhere in music. So a lot of the most common chord progressions use elements of the cycle of fourths. 2-5-1, I'm sure that's a progression many of you are familiar with. It's like everywhere in jazz. That's kind of just like a mini little cycle of fourths. It's like A minor 7, D7, G. That's just fourth and then fourth. So it's a very good skill. It's a very good thing to practice because it's used in a lot of chord progressions. It's used in a lot of modulations. Usually you're going to modulate to a key that's fairly close by. Like if you're in C, a very likely key to modulate to would be F. You're less likely to modulate from C to G flat. So because of those things, because it comes up everywhere in music theory, it's a good thing to practice, and it's great for practicing tapping because it gets you familiar with the entire fretboard. A lot of people, it's tempting to only play down here because as bassists, we're playing bass lines 90% of the time, unless you start some weird solo bass career on YouTube. So a lot of people kind of forget to practice up here. The cycle of fourths kind of forces you to practice up here as well, especially when you're doing it with tapping. So just to make sure that we're good with the cycle of fourths, we're going to play just the roots initially, because if we, I was going to say, if we don't do that, the other stuff is going to be really hard. So let's just start with that. And the thing to remember with the cycle of fourths is that if you get lost, so we're going to be doing it all on the E string initially. You'll see why in a sec. If you get lost, just remember the next note is always up 5 frets or down 7 frets. So even if you have no clue what note you're playing, just think that. Just like either go up, but don't go down 7 frets if you're already on fret 2, because that's going to sound weird. All right, let's try just playing the roots. You're going to do it with just your middle finger for now. So you're going to really practice flipping people off. Okay, let's do it with a backing track. We'll start on C.
No pressure.
So C. B flat next. Sounds like you guys nailed it. Yeah. Okay, cool. So now we're going to add the right hand. Still not going to be too crazy yet. So we're going to do it octaves. We're still going to be doing roots, but we're going to be doing octaves. So middle finger on each hand, fret 15 on A in the right hand, and then fret 8 E string left hand. Yeah. And then the next note is F. So yeah, have the right hand just be on the A string for now, because we're gonna turn this into an exercise later. Yeah. So then you go down to B flat. Then E flat, which is fret 11 in the left hand. Wait, what?
Do I have E flat? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't have.
How many frets have you got? 22. Yeah, that should.
21. Or,
Yeah, me too.
21. Okay, there might be like one part of this exercise that you just have to kind of like pretend to play. Yeah. And then it's A flat. And then C sharp. Yeah. F sharp. So, yeah. B. E. Yep. A. D. G. And then back to C. Yeah. Okay. Let's try that with the backing track. Take it nice and slow. And yeah, at any point, if you get lost, yeah, just try and think about that, like up 5 frets or down 7 frets. Feeling good? Surviving? Okay, cool. Let's just do that again at a faster tempo. We'll get to some interesting stuff, I promise. Okay, yeah, this one just has a 4 count. Okay, so now hopefully you're pretty familiar with, or at least a little bit familiar with the cycle of fourths motion. So the next few exercises are all going to be using this motion, and we're just going to play patterns moving around the cycle of fourths like that. So the first pattern that we're going to play is, we'll still be doing just the root in the left hand, but the right hand we're going to do a major scale. So the way you play a major scale tapping in the right hand is like this. Okay, so you start on fret 15 just like you were, and then use one finger per fret, and yeah.
holding the root in the left, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the order with the right hand?
Fingering. So it's your middle finger first.
You start with the middle finger.
Yes. Yeah. Then pinky. Yeah, first finger. Third. Pinky first.
So you just use these three fingers, actually.
At the very top, when you get to the major seven, use the ring finger. Yeah.
As you fret each note in the right hand, are you rounding your fingers to get a better tone? Does it ever matter if you flatten them to like for starting to get a bit better accuracy at the start?
Yeah, I always keep my fingers pretty curved.
Okay.
Just again, I feel like that's what gives me the most control. Yeah, I think that's the best way for me to do it.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, keep my fingers curved. And yeah, one thing that's the hardest part of tapping, this is actually really weird, is that tapping slowly is actually more difficult than tapping quickly. Sometimes, like playing a slow major scale, like it's like actually harder because you've got to be pushing it down longer each time, so it actually uses a decent amount of force. Tapping quickly, you don't have to stay on the note as long, so it's actually kind of easier, weirdly. Having said that, we're going to start slow on the next exercise. So let's just do that pattern that we're going to play around the whole cycle. Let's just do it first in C, just to make sure that we've really got it down. Loop that a few times, and then we'll try throwing it around the cycle of fourths. Three, four. Cool. So you feeling good?
Try my best.
You ready? You ready? You ready to do it around the whole thing? Okay. All right. Let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. All right. No, it's all right. It's all right. No, that's fine. Let's try it at a slightly slower tempo. So, oh yeah, that's fine. Let's quickly just do like the first 3 keys.
Yep.
Because I think once you get like the first 3 or 4, then you kind of like get into it more. So the first one we got C. So we got. Just stay on C for a bit. All right, now let's go up to F after this one. Oh yes, yeah, you don't have that one. Okay, okay. Maybe yeah. Maybe it's best to just skip F. Yeah, you could try that. It's just gonna be hard in your left hand though. Yeah, actually, yeah. Do that for now.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, when you get to F, you just I'll do it with you. Actually, it's weird doing it this low. All right, let's go up to B flat now. Nice. E flat. A flat. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's like nearly halfway through. So should we try again the whole thing? And just remember, we're only going to play each key once. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that sounded pretty good. That's all right. That's fine. You feeling good?
Yeah, well, better, but
Yeah.
not there yet.
That's fine. I mean, you're not going to get there in 2 seconds. Yeah.
So with the right hand, you are hammering on, and then you are hammering when you go on the scale.
There's actually there's no pull-offs.
No pull-up,
No, it's all
hammering on.
it's all just like pushing on the string. Yeah. So eventually, you know. So yeah, it's all just tapping.
On the left hand, you just hit one time on the root, right?
Yeah, the full exercise. So once we've done this, maybe like once more, slightly faster tempo, then you do the scale in the left hand as well. so that you're doing like, well, I'll give you a sneak preview of what's about to come. But don't worry about that yet. We'll get to that in a sec. Yes. No, I don't. Actually, this is a pretty interesting thing about tapping, is that, so one thing that I've noticed is if you try and tap when you've already got like something being held down, it's actually a lot harder. And that's because the string doesn't have as far to get pushed. So, okay, let's say I'm like holding a E here. It's actually like you've got to push quite a lot harder to tap this note. See, there's quite a big tone difference there. So it's a bit of a weird thing with tapping where it's better. I find you get a much better tone if you don't do that, if you don't hold the previous finger down. Which I know a lot of people do the other way, holding your previous finger down when you're doing finger style. I think it works great for that. But for tapping, it makes it harder. And you don't want tapping to be any harder than it already is. Yeah, you don't have to do like crazy exaggerated, like you don't have to go like, but yeah, obviously. But yeah, I find it gives you a better tone than going. It's hard to get the necessary force to tap if you're holding down your previous finger. So that's why I don't do that. Yeah. Any more questions before we go on to the next thing? Cool. Okay, hopefully you haven't forgotten everything that we just did, because we're going to do that again, but slightly faster tempo. You ready? Just make sure you start on C. Sounded like you guys did pretty great. Yeah, no, good. I'm glad. Sometimes it really can trip you up. So I'm glad that you guys are getting it. That's awesome. Let's just do it one more time at a reasonably fast tempo. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't, we're not going to go any faster than that. So it's all good. Yeah, but like you said, it's hard at first, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. And yeah, I practice. So actually, we still haven't quite done the full exercise, but I practiced this exercise loads before I actually like really learned that many tapping songs. So, well, I tried to learn some tapping songs that didn't go that great, and then I had a teacher who like showed me these exercises, and I practiced these a lot, like, you know, maximum just like this exercise, maybe like 1 or 2 hours per day, but including other tapping exercises, it might have been like 4 or 5 when I was in like max practice mode. And it just made everything feel way more natural and way more comfortable. And I don't really know of any other shortcut other than just practicing a lot. So yeah, if you want to get really good at tapping, I think just practice these types of exercises as much as you can and try and do it while thinking about using good technique. So now we've got the full exercise, which we're doing major scales in both hands. Oh yeah, okay. This is where it's gonna get weird. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you can sing it if you want. You can just chill for that if you want. But yeah. So that is one unfortunate thing about this exercise is that you need 22 frets. But if you don't, just either skip that key or skip each of those notes that you can't play, just like pretend to play it. Yeah. Anyway, so in your left hand, you're doing the exact same thing as what you're doing in your right hand. You're using the exact same fingering. And I don't know, yeah, it's the feeling of tapping in the left hand is similar to fretting. It's just with more force. So instead of going like this is probably how much force you'd use when you're just fretting. But now you want it to be more like. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But other than that, it's exactly the same. It's only the right hand where things get weird. So should we try looping C? Just like get a feel of it. One, two, three, four. Cool. You feeling pretty good with that? Okay. Well, that's good enough for me. And then yeah, F. When we get to that next chord. Sure. Yeah. You can do that if you want, just the left hand. Yeah, should we try doing the whole thing? 1, 2, 3, 4. in the middle. Yeah, it gets weird in the middle. Do you want to do it again at a similar tempo, or okay? One, two, three, four. It seemed like you had it for most of it.
Yeah, sometimes I get it.
Yeah.
Some brain fog.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
Same. Sometimes I just have a mental block and I forget where I am for a second.
Yeah. The middle is where it gets weird because, yeah, all those, yeah, like A flat and D flat and then F sharp is like, where am I? Yeah. Again, just practice. Let's see if let's see what happens. Let's see what happens if we try it fast. Yeah.
Love challenges. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Honestly, that's all you need. As long as you play the first and the last note, everything else, yeah, it's just icing on the cake. Okay, so that's the full exercise. So I feel like we've reached a milestone. And again, you can kind of like adapt this exercise to fit your current skill level. Like you can go back to doing just like roots in your left hand and scales in your right hand if that's what you feel like is pushing you, but not like making it impossible to actually play. So that's a really good thing about this exercise. Getting really familiar with the cycle of fourths, it lets you practice a lot of different exercises around the neck, and it lets you get familiar with the fretboard in a way that I find is particularly great with this exercise. And then, yeah, so like another example of what you can do with this, I mean, there's a million things you can do, but what I did after major scales naturally was minor scales. So minor scales is similar, but you're going to start on fret, with your first finger on each hand, and it goes like this. So it's quite a pinky workout. You've got a lot of like ring to pinky, which is kind of awkward at first. Try adding the root in the left hand. Sounds like we're going to war. Okay, cool. And the good thing about this one is that you can play F if you have 22 or less, or 21 frets, because you're not using a middle finger, which means you can play it down here. So you won't have to just do some random stuff when it comes to F. So let's try looping. Do you want to loop C for a little bit just to get familiar with it, and then we'll throw it around the cycle?
Just the root in the left hand or scales in both hands?
Let's do scales in both hands. Throw you in the deep end. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. You feeling good about that? Yeah? Okay, cool. Do you want to try it around the whole thing? See what happens? How you feeling? Good? Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess there's still one that you can't. Yeah, yeah, that's annoying. Yeah, so this one is a little awkward with the pinky going to with the ring going to the pinky. It's a really good workout for that though, because again, you want to have as few limitations, like physical limitations, as possible. So working out that stuff that feels really awkward at first is a really useful thing to do. Oh, really? Yeah.
It will be a little bit awkward.
Are you using different fingering?
Yeah, using different.
Okay. Yeah.
Too complicated for me right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can skip it if you want, or Try that, fingering out, yeah, whatever you want. Do you want to try, what kind of tempo are you feeling? Do you want to try fast or medium?
Medium.
Start
Try
medium.
medium.
All right. Medium rare.
Yeah, exactly.
Fast just for fun.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's all right. That's perfectly fine. You feeling good about that? Like, what do you think of the backing tracks, by the way?
I'm just wondering.
Pretty
about the
smooth.
backing
Yeah, I made them myself. Yeah, yeah. I tried to make them a little bit cheesy. I feel like backing tracks should be a little bit cheesy. You know, yeah.
You
Yeah.
made it because you want to hear more the harmonic sound.
Yeah, so when I make backing tracks like this, I try to make them, yeah, I want to make sure that there's chords in there so that you can hear the harmony you're playing against. And just, it's so much more interesting to play along with a backing track than just metronome. So yeah, basically that's why I do the backing tracks. Yeah. Yeah, I think some people just came in pretty recently. If any of you want to come up and play and just do this kind of stuff that we're doing, you can just raise your hand at any point. I'm happy to keep going with you guys if no one else wants to play, but I just wanted to let you know that is an option. Yeah, I think we basically covered most of the, well, yeah, all of the exercises. So I was thinking now I could teach you the intro to that song that I played at the beginning, Elevated. What?
200 drummers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, AKA 200 drummers. Yeah, we don't have 200 drummers here today, unfortunately, but yeah, next time. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, do you want to do that? Do you want to learn the intro to that song that I played at the beginning? Okay, so you're going to start like this. Yeah. And I'll walk you through it as well. So you're kind of, in the first little bit, you're actually splitting the melody between the right and the left hand. And then you do that major 7. So the very first note, you're going to slide up to fret 12 on the A string, and then fret 10 on D with your left hand, fret 12 on D. So yeah, let's try looping that a little bit. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay, so you got that. So the next part of the phrase. Yep, there you go. So yeah. And then hit the G on the G string. Yeah. So let's try. Yeah, exactly. So let's try looping that. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we've got the first phrase, and then you got this bluesy thing. So you're doing fret 7 in your left hand on A, and then in your right hand you're going. So it's fret 12 on D, and then you slide up and down 1 fret. Yeah, you pull off to fret 10 in the left hand. And then, yeah, so you got, and then, yeah. And when you, okay, so you got, sorry. So, yes, so when you get up to that C, you hit A in the left hand. So you go. Yeah, yep, there you go. So let's try playing that whole do 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 do. Let's just loop that for a little bit. So 1, 2, 3. Where are we at the bar? 1 diddle-oo-doo. I guess I'm just going to say 1. I'll go 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. Three, 4, 1. Yeah, so you
hit B after you slide it.
So you go. Yeah, you hit the E right as you get down to the D again. Yep. A. Yeah. Yeah. Should we try looping that again? Mm-hmm. Okay. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. Okay. So I think we've got that. Let's loop the whole everything that we've learned. So I'll just play it for you slowly, just to refresh your memory. I'll do it again. Okay, sure. Want to try doing the whole thing that we've
A
learned?
bunch of weird position shifts that make it work, right? So,
Let me see. I guess it just feels so normal to me now. Like I've done it so many times. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. All right. Let's try looping it together. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three. Yeah, that bit's weird. Let's loop just the second part. 3, 4, 1. Three, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1. Yeah. Now let's do the whole thing again. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Okay. Yeah, you pretty much got it. Yeah.
No, kind of combine it together.
Yeah. No, it is hard to like link each section together. Yeah. All right. So the next part is where it sounds like we're in the Shire. So. Okay. So. Yeah. Exactly. So it's very similar phrasing. So basically in the right hand, we're doing like this major triad type thing, but we're bluesifying it a little. So we're going. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so get ready to do fret 8 in your left hand on the A string, F. So yeah, so let's loop that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, nice. Now peak Shire mode. Except it's like a jazz club in the Shire. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm doing that same little shaky thing, fret 16 G string, and we're holding a G octave in the left hand. Yep. And just like with the previous little shaky things, when you get down to the lower of the notes, that's when you hit the root. Yeah, exactly. Yes, yeah. Okay. So after you've done, then you go. Yes. Yep. And then you just do the little walk down. Yep, exactly. So let's do that same part. So we got, let's just loop that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, fret 16. Yes. So 1, 2, 3. Yep. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So let's try and combine the whole second phrase together. So I'll play it to you again just to remind you. Let's try playing it together, just loop everything that I just played. So we're going to start off with that major triad on fret 15, A string, and get ready to hit fret 8 on the A string. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. One, two, three. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, a little complicated when I try to connect those two licks.
Yeah.
So I got to take care of both hands.
So is this the? Tell me which part. Like, just say something when it gets to the part that you're struggling with.
Yeah, right here.
Okay. So you're struggling at going into that next part. Yeah. So the coordination can be weird. So one thing that I found really helpful when it comes to coordinating your left hand and right hand doing different things is to focus on the notes where your hands are hitting a note at the same time. So like here we've got, right? So that on that note, both of my hands are doing something. So I find that if I, like, those are kind of my like anchor points, I guess you could call them. So I'm like, okay, all this other time my hands are doing something slightly different, but there I know they're doing the exact same thing. So if I focus on at least hitting those notes. So like there again is another point where your hands are both playing. Yeah, so. And then you've got, yeah. And then you can chill because it's just your left hand. Yeah. Let's do the whole phrase just a couple more times, and then we'll try playing everything that we've learned. So, you got your major triad, fret 15. Okay. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. One, two, three. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah. So, do you want to try playing everything? putting it all together.
I would like to listen to your.
Well, I mean, everything that we've played, not the whole song, but
Oh, okay.
everything that we've just practiced. Like,
Uh-huh.
do you want to? Should we try putting it all together?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, this is what we've played so far. We don't have to go at that speed, but that's what we've practiced. Should we try playing all of that?
Could you remind me of the first part of the left hand, first section, like very quickly?
Yeah. So you kind of play the melody a bit at the beginning with the left hand. So you go, and then fret 8. Yep.
You made that dominant 7. That'll be alright.
Yeah. 9. Yep. Yep. Yes. Yep.
These two lines basically are pretty similar.
They are very similar. Yeah, they got the exact same structure, and they both do a little chromatic walk down at the end. Yeah, you got it. Let's try it. Doesn't matter.
Quickly about the fingering. When you go from here, which finger do you start up with? Is it ring or?
Ring. Because basically I do ring, and then middle. I use the middle finger for G, and then index finger for the little squiggly thing. Yes. Yeah, okay. Let's try playing. It is. Yeah. Let's try doing the whole thing nice and slow. Just see what happens. So, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
I think I'm getting a part wrong just before we go from one to the other. What do you do on with the F to the G in that section? What do you do?
You mean this bit? Yeah, just a power chord.
So there's nothing accompanying the C arpeggio?
No. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I forgot to tell you about that though. Sorry.
I thought there was something.
Yeah. Just to make it extra difficult. Yeah. Yep. You got it. Let's try playing it again, the whole thing.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. One, two, three. One, two, three. Yeah.
I first have to practice that extra C.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I think we've got it. We basically got it. I'm assembling a bass army. Yeah. No, you pretty much got it. Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty much everything that I had planned. If I was kind of thinking I might do a sort of Q&A session for the last half hour. You guys can chill up here if you want, or you can go and sit back down, whatever you want. But thank you guys so much for being involved in this. I really appreciate you guys volunteering. It's you did awesome. Yeah, of course. And yeah, like obviously every exercise that I've shown you today, you know, you'll get something out of just seeing us practice this, obviously, but 99% of the improvement that you can get if you're a bassist is practicing it yourself, of course. So all of these exercises are actually available on my Patreon, which is just, you don't have to pay for it, by the way. You can do like a free trial, and then if you want to immediately quit afterwards, you can do that. But basically, I have all these exercises on Patreon, and you can download them and you can play along with them. And if you want to get good at tapping, I'd highly recommend it. And just practice them as much as you can. Try and use good technique, and you'll find everything starts feeling a lot easier. So, yeah, does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
Have you ever tried that technique on a fretless bass?
Tapping? Yeah. It sounds good, but it's much more difficult because fretless bass is already hard enough to play in tune when you're just playing one note. And then when you start playing 2 or 3 notes at once, you've got to be very, very conscious about playing everything with good intonation, because it can quickly start sounding kind of horrible. So I think it's definitely one of those things that you want to like ease yourself into it. You don't want to immediately start trying to play all the most difficult tapping stuff on fretless, because it's going to sound, unless you're okay with things sounding really bad for a while, which, I mean, I kind of did that, to be honest. For a while, I was trying out tapping on fretless, and it just sounded really bad for a bit. I didn't do it live. I did it at home. And it's interesting. It gets you much more used to things sounding terrible. It's like your ear can handle a lot more weird dissonance and stuff. Anyway, long story short, yes, you can do it on fretless, but it's very tough at first. Yeah. Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about like your career after you graduate? Because I feel like as we are graduating from here, it's kind of panicking. Like, so how do you get to where you are today, and like what would you suggest in doing? I mean, everybody is different, but
yeah. So it's definitely, yes, it's always an interesting process, because there isn't really, like, I'm assuming, do you want to be a performer, or do you know what you want to do after you're done here? Perform and teach. Okay. So yeah, there's not really like a kind of set path to follow like there is with a lot of other jobs. So I would say what I did, and what I think in hindsight was actually quite a good thing to do, even though I didn't really know it at the time, was to just experiment with a lot of different things and find what you feel resonates with you the most, and what feels like the thing that you would happily do even if you weren't getting paid very much or really anything for it. Because in the beginning, you're probably not going to get paid very much. Like, I'm just going to be honest. Like, it takes a while to be able to like actually build a sort of sustainable career with music. It's definitely worth it. I'm not trying to put anyone off, but yeah, it takes a while to get decent pay. So what I did, I played in a couple of different bands. I played in one sort of like pop rock band, and I played in a Celtic bluegrass band, which was interesting. It was kind of like, if any of you know Bela Fleck and the Flecktones, it was a very similar vibe to that. There was a banjo player, there was a bagpipes player, fiddle player, like a Celtic drummer. I did that for a while. I somehow ended up playing a lot of Celtic music, or like Celtic fusion. So I also played an Afro-Celtic funk band. And that was really interesting. That was like a 8 or 9 piece band usually. And it's so funny. Our sound checks were the most hilarious thing because the instruments involved in that were obviously bass, drums, trumpet, saxophone, violin, bagpipes, Senegalese percussion, like sabar, organ. I think that might be the end of it. But, oh yeah, I guess someone was singing quite a lot of the time. So anyway, sound guys hated us, especially the bagpipes. So I guess what I'm trying to get at here is I did a lot of different stuff when I first got out of Berkeley. And that made it easier for me to know what I really want to do. I love playing with other people in collaborations, but I also really like writing my own music. And I always found with a lot of the other projects that I was doing, it was kind of difficult for me to really like put my stamp on the music, partially because they wanted me to play just more like standard bass lines, which I get. But at the same time, I feel like there's quite a lot that is unexplored with the bass. I feel like there's a lot of potential with the bass beyond just playing like fingerstyle bass lines. And so I've really enjoyed starting my YouTube channel. I started my YouTube channel back in like 2012, and it wasn't really getting much traction at all. I didn't know what I was doing when it came to YouTube. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where you do have to kind of know how to play the game a little bit. You got to know how to like make good thumbnails and good titles and how to make shorts now and all of those types of things. So I had about 5 years where I was uploading YouTube videos like once a month, and I was kind of just like titling it the name of the composition. It was always original music, sometimes some covers, but I just basically call it like Resurrection bass solo or something. And I didn't really realize at the time that people who didn't know me weren't necessarily going to see like, oh, bass solo, got to click on that. Like, okay, but why? Like, why is my bass solo any different from anyone else's? What is special about this bass solo that I should click on it and watch the video? These are the kinds of things that I didn't realize I had to think about when it came to YouTube. And it kind of, the moment where things like really took off, especially online, was essentially when I did my collab with Davey504. And for anyone who doesn't know, he now has 13 million subscribers, but at that point he had 4 million. And we did this like bass battle, which was kind of hilarious. And basically we did that, and he told everyone to go and subscribe to my channel, which was amazing. And I got about 50,000 subscribers just from him doing that. And it was kind of crazy because I'd been doing this for so long, and I got to like 10,000 subscribers. And then overnight, I gained like 50,000. And so I knew that I had to like really capitalize on this opportunity. And that I'd spent so long basically not really getting all that much views and recognition that I knew how rare of an opportunity this was. So I just started putting out videos like crazy, like every 3 or 4 days, whereas before I'd done it like once a month. So it was like a huge step up in terms of online workload. I was doing a lot of live performances at that time, but not quite as many YouTube videos. But I now knew that I had to focus more on YouTube. And that was in like 2019, late 2019. So now it's 2024. And yeah, basically since that moment, I've just been very focused on building my online audience, trying to put out the craziest and most interesting and funny videos that I can, And recently I've got more into teaching as well, hence this. And yeah, I think hopefully that answers your question. It's I think it's one of those things where, like I said, there's not really a set path, at least not really one that I know of. And you've got to experiment a lot in the beginning and then find what you really enjoy and then just do that to the best of your ability. And if opportunities come your way, just jump on them as well as you can. Because in my experience, they don't always come particularly often. So you've got to make sure you jump on it. And yeah, practice as much as you can. Make sure your skills are at a great level so that when an opportunity does come, you're ready for it. That's one thing I think was really good about the thing that I did with Davey, was that he gave me this big opportunity, but I'd spent so many years practicing writing music, doing live performances and all that kind of thing, that when it came, I was just like so ready for it. I was just like, here we go. I'm just going to put out videos as much as I can and see what happens. And that's kind of what I've done for like the last 4.5 years since then. So hopefully that answers your question. Yes.
What factor about your YouTube channel would you say is the thing that grips the audience the most, that gets you the most views, gets people to, gets the algorithm on your side, so to speak?
That's an interesting one. I think, because I think it used to be more like, it varies. I think it's varied over time, I guess. So I think there was one point where the funny stuff was getting more views, like the one where I was making the comparison between making a mistake in classical versus jazz. So obviously, like in classical, everyone freaks out. In jazz, everyone thinks it's really cool if you make a mistake. So that was initially something that was getting a lot of views. And then I kind of went through this phase where I was doing really weird, like crazy ideas. Like, okay, I'm going to play bass with a bow, or I'm going to set fire to my bass, or, stuff like that. So I think basically, but I think what I always tried to do, even when I was doing weird stuff like that or really funny stuff, I was always trying to make sure that the music was actually still like something that I would enjoy and listen to, because I knew that if I just, set my bass on fire and then played something that wasn't that interesting or great, it might get people to watch that one video, but I don't think they would watch that many videos after that, because there's plenty of people doing weird stuff. But I tried to make sure I was doing like weird stuff, but also having good music. And then now I'm focusing more on writing my own stuff. I'm doing some collabs with Bernd, the Austrian guitarist. I don't know if you have seen anything that I've done with him. I'm trying to focus as much on the music right now as possible. And I think, so I think at the moment, it's mostly just the songwriting and the crazy bass playing that people enjoy. Yeah. Has anyone got any other questions? Yes.
Since you were talking about the shorts on YouTube, does that change any of your strategy about posting? Because right now YouTube is more focused on short clips instead of long clips. So does that change any of your strategy?
Yeah. So I used to just post like one long form video every 5 days, even though my videos are like 2 or 3 minutes, but they're not vertical. So it's definitely changed my strategy, because now I feel like I can't just like ignore, like it's never been a good idea to ignore the YouTube algorithm completely because they have so much power. So yeah, so basically now I try and do like one longer video per week instead of every 5 days. So I've like slightly cut down the number of longer videos I do, and then I try and throw in a short like every 1 or 2 weeks or something like that. It's like, honestly, it's not my favorite thing that has happened with YouTube because I do find the short form format can sometimes lead to people just like trying to play the absolute most crazy thing they can. And I know maybe that sounds weird because I kind of do that sometimes, but I do prefer to make music that is like a 2 or 3 minute song that kind of develops and has recurring themes and things like that, as opposed to just like 1 minute of like circus tricks. And it's not all like that, of course, but it kind of like pushes people in that direction, the more like circus trick direction. Whereas, yeah, I just kind of prefer making songs with a bit more of structure and stuff. So, yeah, I'm trying to adapt to it, but I kind of wish they'd get rid of shorts sometimes. But I don't know if that's what the people want, then I guess I'll make some more shorts. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Is that a signature bass? If you have a signature bass?
Yeah, this is my signature bass. So this is the Schecter CB4, and it's sold out right now. Well, yeah, we're gonna get some more soon, right? Yes. Yes. So yeah, I really like this bass. I made some suggestions. You know, I had some things that I really wanted to have in a signature bass, and this has got all those things. Like, my favorite thing about it is the really deep cutaway, because playing up here, it's easier on this bass than on some other basses, because if you don't have a deep cutaway, then when you try and play at the 24th fret, you're kind of like this. And it's like all your dexterity goes out the window. Whereas when you got a deep cutaway, playing up here is not that different from playing down here. So that's one of my favorite things. It's also got kind of a slightly thinner neck than average. Do you know the exact specs on the neck? I can't remember exactly the thickness.
I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's similar to like what was on the stilettos.
Okay, similar to the stilettos. Sure, jazz bass type thickness. Yeah, yeah. So it's got. What was that?
Way more narrow at the top.
Way more narrow at the top. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's quite a thin neck, which again helps dexterity a lot. It lets me play some fast stuff without feeling like I'm like manhandling this big chunk of lumber. It's more got a bit more finesse to it. Yeah, so this is my signature, and yeah, I like it a lot. Did you have a question? I use GHS. So right now on these, I've got bass boomers. I also use the super steels sometimes. I really like the sound of the super steels. I sometimes find that they don't feel quite as smooth as the bass boomers. So that's why I kind of gravitate more towards these. But the steel ones do have a very they got a very crisp sound. But if you were to get one, I'd probably go with the bass boomers. And the gauge is 45 to 100, pretty sure. So it's on the lighter side. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But for the thinness string, you prefer 45 instead of 40? Because there are some.
I guess there is 40. I mean, I haven't noticed a huge difference, honestly. I probably wouldn't go with like 50. And I probably wouldn't go with like a 105E. But I'm not that picky when it comes to gear. I know like some people are really obsessed with gear. I always just want to like get to the playing as soon as possible. So I'm not necessarily like, I'm not really picky when it comes to my strings, but I would recommend GHS bass boomers. Any more questions from anyone?
How do you usually record your sound?
So like, yeah, when I'm at home in my studio, yeah. So I usually use this laptop right here, and I have a Universal Audio Apollo Twin interface. And sometimes I get this quad cortex involved. It depends on what I want. Like this quad cortex has got really nice chorus on it, which I don't have in Logic Pro. But I often just use plugins as well. I've got quite a lot of Neural DSP plugins, like the Dark Glass Ultra preamp, and I use that. I use that for distortion as well. Sometimes I get this wah involved, and then yeah, that's kind of it. I don't have too much crazy gear or anything. It's just DI usually into the Apollo Twin, into the laptop, then run some plugins. I pretty much always have compression. So this whole time down here, I've had compression and amp simulator. And then I often get some EQ involved. What I usually do with EQ is try to make sure that the high frequencies are pretty bright, because I find that is how you get a nice crisp slap and tap sound. And then I actually, when I'm playing lead stuff, like for the high frequencies, I usually boost like 2K to 5K. Yeah. And then I usually have a little bit of reverb when I'm doing solo stuff. Sometimes some delay, but I don't have reverb or delay if I'm playing bass lines, because you just don't need that. Yeah. Producers will hate you if you do that. Yeah. And yeah, so that, I think that's pretty much it when it comes to my recording setup. Yeah.
Could you please tell us what kind of DI you use?
So when I'm recording, I just go straight into the Apollo Twin. Yeah. So, and then sometimes I use the quad cortex. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Thank you.
What was that?
Thank you.
Oh yeah, of course. Anything else anyone wants to ask? 4 minutes. Okay. What was that, sorry? Yes. Yeah, I'll make sure. Right now they're a little scattered around, but I'll make sure to upload them into like one spot afterwards. I'll make a specific post for MI clinic attendees. Like, here's all the backing tracks, everything that I played throughout this clinic, and they can download all of them and play along with them at home. Yeah. Cool. We good? Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. It's been, yeah, thank you. It's been really nice to come here and teach you guys and play with some of you, and just go after it as hard as you can, and you'll be amazed at how far you can go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would it be all right if I got a picture with you?
Oh yeah, cool.
The shirts give out.
Nice.